listen.
Are you ready?
It's time!
Camcorder Chris time, that is. Let's all learn. We'll have fun. Could be about a fern, could be about the sun. All we know is everyone will learn some, and that's the Camcorder Chris theme song.
Hello all, and welcome to a very special episode of Camcorder Chris. Today's show includes special guests, acting Archer, Dynamo Davis, and Dreamy David, who had to be pulled away from all the girls he was with to be here today.
Hey, Camcorder Chris, I'm a cell, and I aspire to respire, but I just don't know how.
Well then, you've come to the right video, Mr. Cell, because in today's episode, I'll take you through the process of cellular respiration.
Ooh! Sounds interesting. Tell us more.
No, we be serious, I told you.
Well, first thing you need to know is that this process takes place in 4 steps. If it were a dance, it would be the 4-step.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Full step!
Step 1, ladies, is glycolysis. In this step, the first thing that happens, ladies, is that glucose's 6 carbons are split into 2 3-carbon pyruvate molecules, which are phosphorylated, which uses ATP. 2 3-pyruvate molecules, which are phosphorylated, which uses ATP.
The Association of Tennis Professionals?
Not quite, Dynamo Davis and ladies. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. Anyhow, ladies, next the phosphates and electrons are removed, and electrons are added. Anyhow, ladies, next the phosphates and electrons are removed, and electrons are added to NAD+ to make NADH. This process produces 2 ATP. Next up, ladies, more electrons and phosphates are removed from the 3-carbon pyruvates, and phosphates are added to ADP to make ATP. After all this is done, ladies, the pyruvate enters into the cell's mitochondria.
Mitochondria? That reminds me of a joke. Okay, a mitochondria walks into a bar and asks the bartender for a drink, and then asks how much it will cost. The bartender responds, "It'll cost you ADP. Get it? ADP? ATP?
Alrighty then, the second step of CR, that's right, I abbreviated cellular respiration.
That's what cool kids do.
I know, that's why I did it. Anyway, the second step is called acetyl-CoA, where the pyruvate made in the previous step loses a carbon and 2 oxygens. Then the enzymes link coenzyme A to the acetate, which is what the pyruvate becomes after losing the carbon and oxygen. An important note is that this step is aerobic. Not that kind of aerobic. That just means that oxygen is needed for this reaction to occur.
Oh, now I get it.
Don't remember, I heard the next step.
What are you doing?
I heard this step involves a cycle.
Not that kind of cycle. The next step is a citric acid cycle, often referred to as the Krebs cycle.
Oh, I know that cycle. It occurs in the matrix of the mitochondria. Well, high-energy electrons are captured in the form of NADH and FAD, and with each turn of the cycle, citrate loses a total of 8 electrons to electron acceptors such as NAD+. Then 8 electrons are transferred from acetyl-CoA to form NADH and FADH2.
FADH2? What was wrong with FADH1? Was it not good enough? Ha 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 ha! Sorry, go on.
Anywho, this process occurs in 3 parts. First, the formation of 6-carbon citrate and isocitrate, where the 2-carbon acetyl-CoA combines with a 4-carbon OAA.
OAA? Does the cell have a drinking problem or something?
No, you're thinking of AA. OAA stands for oxaloacetate. Back to the steps. Next comes the conversion of isocitrate into a 4-carbon compound, as citric acid loses 2 carbons as CO2, yielding a 4-carbon OAA. The last step involves the production of another molecule of OAA. All in all, in this process, 4 CO2 are given off, and it makes 6 NADH, 2 FADH, and 2 GDP.
I think my mom used to have that car.
Not a Pontiac GTP. GTP meaning guanosine triphosphate.
Finally, ladies, the last step in CR.
Hey, only I can abbreviate cellular respiration.
Is called the electron transport chain.
Or oxidative phosphorylation.
Yeah, or that. Well, ladies, in this step, each electron carrier passes off its electrons to the next carrier. After a carrier passes an electron to another carrier, that carrier becomes oxidized.
You mean it removes its?
No, oxidized is not the verb form of the product called oxy, ladies. Though, it does work wonders on my skin. Actually, oxidized in this case means charged.
Moving on. When these electrons are passed from one carrier to another, the carriers or electron transport chain pump protons out of the mitochondria's matrix and into the intermembrane space of the mitochondria, thus creating an electrochemical gradient.
Because of this gradient, the protons try to get back into the matrix of the mitochondria.
Mitochondria? That reminds me of the funniest joke I heard the other day.
Cool, tell me about it later. Back to the CR.
Hey!
The only way they can do that is by going through the ATP synthase.
Cut it. When the ATP flows through the ATP synthase, it uses the energy of the protons going through it to generate ATP.
So, recapping this great adventure, there are 4 steps in cellular respiration: glycolysis, acetyl-CoA, Krebs cycle, and electron transport chain. Overall, throughout the process, 32 ATP are produced in this reaction. Well, that's our show for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, this has been Camcorder Chris, here with all my buddies, saying, you stay classy, America.
Montag, lieben, Glauben, Globen.
And all the girlies say I'm pretty fly for a white guy.